Thanks for joining us. This is what we saw this morning at MSP. Today is expected to be one of the busiest days of travel. The TSA says they expect more people moving through the airports compared to last year's holiday season. Now, if you remember, that's when we saw major delays and cancellations all throughout the country. Here's a look from FlightAware at what we can expect for the timing of the flights out of Minneapolis throughout the day. This year, the FAA says more staff has been added, technology has been improved, and additional military airspace is also open. I think this is a good time to go ahead and bring in Cece. I mean, you were there at the start of the day today. What did you see?
Yeah, so Terminal 1, great. Terminal 2 is where we saw it getting really busy. So all morning I was suggesting that people go on MSP's website and do MSP Reserve, where you can schedule an appointment and kind of skip a lot of the line.
We like that.
Yeah.
Especially planning ahead.
We don't like lines.
That's the worst adulting part. Absolutely.
Right. But no, this is great to transition actually into traffic and a look at the roads here. We're actually going to take a look at Highway 5 at Post Road. It's just one of the ways that you can get to Terminal 2. Doesn't look too busy right now, actually. So if you're taking a flight today, this afternoon, you should be good to go. If we take a look at the rest of the metro, looking good, all green. I was seeing a couple of stalled vehicles around the metro. I'm going to keep my eye on those and tell you next if I still see those. But smooth sailing, all green. I'll be back in a few with your drive times this afternoon. Alexis.
Cece, thank you. Let's go ahead and take a look at what you can expect when you pull up at the pump. This morning, AAA says the average price of a gallon of regular gas in Minnesota is up to $2.91. Now, if you're filling up in Hennepin County, you should plan to pay 5 cents more. In Ramsey County, it's a little cheaper at $2.89. It's even less in Wisconsin. The average there is $2.76. That's 15 cents cheaper than in Minnesota and 36 cents less than the national average. Well, taking a live look at the first rainy day of winter in Minneapolis, the warm weather continues with more chances for holiday records. Ben has our forecast.
Well, it's already been a pretty warm day so far, and we do expect these warm conditions to last through the rest of the week and into the holiday weekend. 40s in the forecast at least through this upcoming Monday. A lot of cloud cover today and mainly dry at least through Saturday. That's before we see a rather wet and slow-moving storm system move in for Christmas. Looks rather wet. We're looking at potentially a ½ inch to an inch of rainfall Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. Here's a look at the next 12 hours. A lot of cloud cover. Not much falling from those clouds, however, as temperatures peak in the lower 40s over the next couple of hours. We stay warm overnight tonight. Maybe some pockets of drizzle as you head into Friday's morning commute. We'll have more on that wet storm system headed our way this weekend coming up.
And of course, the holidays are often known as the season of giving. And right now, Second Harvest Heartland is calling for donations to keep food on their shelves.
We're seeing historic levels of need this year. And it's not just right now, it has been this whole year. And we see inflation, fluctuating gas and grocery prices, and then the sunsetting of some of those federal benefits that were around during the pandemic are really making it hard for families to make ends meet right now.
Leaders for Second Harvest Heartland say you can help out with monetary donations or volunteer work. You can also go to secondharvest2harvest.org/help if you have a need for resources or if you want to make sure that you and your family are fed. In the past few weeks, you've likely ordered something that was shipped to your house, and it's a really busy time of the year for package deliveries and a busy time for thieves looking for free items. Here's what happened in one metro area neighborhood.
I'm Morgan Wolf. Porch pirates are getting crafty in St. Louis Park. A mom was home with her newborn when this happened on their porch. A man disguised as an Amazon employee stole things that she needs for Christmas. St. Louis Park police say that they had another person report something similar too. Amazon refunded these customers and has opened an investigation into these incidents. Their spokesperson added, people impersonating Amazon delivery drivers is not something that we're seeing.
We're keeping an eye on a new highly contagious COVID variant. The CDC says JN1 is now responsible for about 20% of new COVID infections across the country. They say the strain has more than doubled between late November and now. Most of that is linked to increased travel and waning immunity. Only 18% of Americans have gotten the latest vaccination, and the CDC is urging doctors to work harder to get their patients vaccinated. Well, today we're hearing from some of the Americans freed from Venezuelan custody as part of a prisoner swap. Ed Lavandera spoke with them as they landed back at home.
The release of 10 Americans from Venezuelan custody unfolded so quickly, Their families didn't arrive in time to greet them at the San Antonio airfield, where 6 of the 10 walked off a plane with the U.S. State Department officials who negotiated their release.
Free at last, thank God Almighty, free at last.
Savoy Wright was one of the 6 American detainees who arrived in Texas. Venezuelan authorities arrested him in October. He was wrongfully imprisoned on terrorism charges and accused of conspiring with the political opposition of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Wright says he was kidnapped by Venezuelan authorities and held for ransom.
Did you think you were going to see this day anytime soon?
I didn't know if I would ever make it out. And it's really scary to be in a place where you're used to having freedoms and you're locked into a cell, sometimes with 4 other people, a very tiny cell. And to realize, am I ever going to get out of this?
Roger Carstens is the U.S. government's special presidential envoy for hostage affairs and was part of the extensive team involved in negotiating the prisoner release.
We left with everyone right now. There are no more Americans left in Venezuela that are being held in the prison facilities.
The deal also included the return of the infamously corrupt military contractor known as Fat Leonard Francis. He was the mastermind of the largest bribery scandal in U.S. naval history and escaped to Venezuela last year after his conviction in 2015. In exchange, the U.S. agreed to return Alex Saab, a close ally of the Venezuelan president, who was facing prison time in the U.S. on corruption and money laundering charges.
If you don't make a hard decision like this, you're basically writing these guys off. Because the other side never asks for something easy.
And that's Ed Levendera reporting. Closer to home, the Minneapolis Police Department is using a tool to get a better understanding of public attitudes toward law enforcement. It's a survey through the tech company Zen City, and it's being used by departments across the country. You'll see it pop up on your phone, in digital ads, on news websites, as well as social media platforms and other apps.
Our officers are constantly responding from call to call, and seldom do they have time to slow down and have conversations with residents about day-to-day things. I do believe that these community surveys will help fill in that gap.
The survey includes questions like, do the police in my area treat everyone fairly? And do they treat local residents with respect? They're hoping this opportunity for real-time anonymous feedback will help them better allocate resources and make good on the terms of the settlement agreement with the Minnesota Department of Human Rights earlier this year. The State Emblems Redesign Commission is nearly through the process of creating a new state flag. Now, the people are calling for a public vote on the flag and seal designs. A petition won't be enough to prompt one since we are not an initiative and referendum state. To get it on the ballot, the legislature would instead need to pass a proposed constitutional amendment describing the preferred design or banning any changes.